Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. One thing, I think there's some similarities between your level of basketball, especially with the restrictions you talked about before, how after their season's done and then you have to wait all that time until October 15th. You can't touch them, you can't train them out. We get an athletic period, so we actually might. I probably have more. It's insane, right? I have more time with my high school guys than you do with your guys. But
it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think what might be interesting though is especially during the summer. I mean, and even I guess at private school UIL, we do have some hours that we're allowed. But what are some off-season expectations that you have for your players?
Well, that's a great question. I think most coaches do this, but I think it bears repeating. We'll give the kids after our last game, we'll give the kids a couple of weeks off to normally by the time we finish, we may have a week of school and then a spring break or something along those lines. Once they come back to school, we're meeting with every kid individually. We lay it out there. Those player meetings are very important because it's an opportunity for them to tell us what they thought about the season and what they thought about their own individual development during the season. But boy, it's a great opportunity for us to say, I really like this, this, and this, but hey, this has got to get better. That's got to get better. And I think that the thing that really brings it home to kids is really laying it out from the perspective of the pecking order. Hey, look, next year we got this guy, we got this guy, we got this. Hey, and don't forget about this guy. Now let's just talk about everybody's individual gifts and what they all bring to the table. Now, if you're going to be in the mix next year, you've got about 6 months to work on your own, and we can't work with you. But we can encourage you. We can give you things to do.
Yeah.
But when the lights aren't on and you're by yourself and it's Friday night, you got decisions to make about what you want to do. Because 6 months will go by quicker than you can possibly imagine. And you're going to be right back in this competition. And where you fit in is going to be completely up to you. Okay? You get beat out, you get beat out. Go look in the mirror. That's where the answer is going to lie. So we'll give them a list of things that they must do. And to be honest with you, I think that the kids at our level do a pretty good job of getting in the gym on their own. Hey, look, you're not strong enough. You've got to get in the weight room. And they do. If you want to take these types of shots, you got to show me that you can knock them down in a better way. Hey, look. Your foot speed isn't what it needs to be. We're going to play man-to-man defense. You got to be able to find a way to stay in front of the ball. And if you're not working on that, then, I can't guarantee you where you're going to be in the scheme of things for us next year when October 15th hits. So that player coach meeting is a big deal. And we're very frank with our guys.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, Matt. I'd say 98% of the time, the player agrees with the coaching staff.
They know where
who they are, what they are, where they fall short, where their strengths are. There's very little conflict usually in those.
Where they're surprised by what you're saying. What?
Once in a while, guys they'll zing me like I didn't see that coming. And I have to set them square. The thing of it is that when there is conflict and he sees it this way and I see it that way, well, I'm the guy making the decisions about who's stepping on the floor for us. Yeah. So you need to sort of come over to my side of things because this is what has to happen in order for you to be successful next year. And I think that off season is a really important time for us, even though we don't get our mitts on them. I wish we could.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, because just to give some perspective, I was at the TABC board meeting a few years ago, and I was the private school kind of member, representing all the private schools. And so we're sitting around with a bunch of public school coaches, and they're talking about, this was before UIL gave them any hours. They're talking about, not getting to train their kids during the summer. And here I am. We've always had, a certain amount of hours a week we could train. And so my first year at Faith, I had the gym open 5 days a week. I had a plan that I was going to take them through, and my numbers went like this: a bunch of kids the first week. And as that summer went on, they didn't want to see me every day, hear me every day, and be trained by me every day. And, a little a hit to my ego, but my thought, what I've seen over the years, that there's something about the disconnect that's good, where they're not, around you every day, hearing your voice or having you train them every day. So you kind of made a comment a second ago, you wish you could have them more, but what do you see any positives from great season? Here's the meeting. Here's what you've got to get better at. And then that kind of freedom. What do you think?
I'm sure there is a positive to that. I know by the end of the year, they're sick and tired of me and hearing from me. So, one of the things I love, the silver lining is we put the onus on them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not force feeding you this stuff in the spring, summer, and fall. And as you know, the Division II and the Division I guys really have the kids all year round. But, it's really, and I've heard it described as really sort of a job. It is a job. You get a scholarship and you sort of belong to me. I've had some Division II transfers that have come to me, and, they didn't want to have basketball 24/7, but, there's so much time between the end of our season and the start of the next one. They have to be the guys who decide, what they want to be and who they want to be as college basketball players. So the impetus is really on them and how bad they really want it.
Yeah.
And if you come back to school and we start practice and you're the same guy that you were when you left, I'm going to tell you about it. And, you come in my office and you want to know why you're not playing. And I'm going to say, hey, well, I just don't think you're any better than when you left us. And that bothers me. There's not a real buy-in there, it turns out, because you couldn't find time to do things to get yourself ready to be more competitive this year than what you left me last year. And that's always tough,
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.